Hey family, so I was reading to my daughter Belle and the Dragon. It's one of the books in the Apocrypha books or the missing books of the Bible. It's basically the story, I guess, leading into Daniel being taken into the lion's den, okay? So the king at the time was asking Daniel, do he believe that the gods that he served was real? And Daniel told him no, that there was only one God, okay? And so they decided to test the gods, okay? Because all of this is about showing who's the real God, right? Because that's what it said in Genesis when Moses went to Pharaoh, right? It said it wasn't about the people, it was about showing the people who was the real God, okay? Because so many people believe there's so many different gods in this world, but God, over time and time again, keeps showing or trying to show people who is the one and only true God, okay? So they decided to test these gods, and the first one was Baal, okay? Baal was this idol god that they crafted with their hands, and the king believed that it was a real god because they would put food in there every day as an offering to that god, and the food would disappear, okay? So they went to put food in there again because the king wanted to confirm what Daniel was saying to the priest, because the priest was telling the king that this God was real, okay? And so they told the king, put some more food in there, lock the doors to make sure nobody get in there, and you will see that the food will be gone in the morning and that the God is real, okay? So the king put the food in there, and he was about to lock the door, but before he locked the door, Daniel went in there and sprinkled like some dust on the ground, okay? And then he told the king to lock the door. So the next morning, the food was gone. But when they saw the food was gone, there also was a truth revealed, okay? And that truth was that those priests had been lying to the king so that they can't eat off of him, okay? So Daniel said to the king, if this God is so real, why are there footprints? Why are there footprints? Okay? And so the king went back to the priests to ask them, and they confessed. They said, okay, that idol had not been eating the food. Us and our family sneak in there at night through a trap door and eat the food every day. So the king had them and their family killed, okay, for lying. So God told me to tell his people, the priests are lying to you to eat off of you, okay? I can't stress this enough, okay? He even showed us in his word, I believe it's in Isaiah, it says the priests at night, you know, in their secret, did despicable things, worshiping other gods, these false gods, right? And God is telling us, he's telling me to tell his people, they're telling you to worship Jesus because they're using him to eat off of you. What did Jesus tell his disciples? That he was going to teach them how to be the fishermen of men. What do fishermen do? They go and catch fish to eat or to sell. To eat or to sell. And so this is what his followers are doing. They're using you to eat, or they're using you to sell your soul and make money off of you. Okay? They're using you to sell your soul and make money off of you, or they eating off of you. Okay? Or both. Okay? Because God told us that we should be following his laws and commands, and he said if anybody come and tell you to do something differently than what I told you, investigate. So we should be investigating. Who is it, Paul, that told us that we should no longer follow the law? We should be investigating him, but yet everybody follows exactly what he says. Because God never told us that we should stop following his law, but Paul did. Who gave Paul the authority to tell God's people to stop following the law? Nobody. And he didn't even say God told him to stop following the law. He just said he felt like he shouldn't have to. Okay? So he's telling you to do something just because he don't feel like he should do it. Not because God didn't say, not because God said we should stop or we didn't have to do it anymore. Okay? Open your eyes, people. You've been tricked. You've been lied to. You're still being lied to. And you're being cursed because of the lie. And the people that are teaching you this lie are profiting off of you being cursed. Okay? I hope you listening, okay? I'm trying to help you. And at first, I was so scared to deliver these messages that God gave me, because I felt like, what would people think? How would they treat me? But God has been showing me over and over that, one, when he tell you to say something, he gonna protect you. Okay? And two, if he tell you to say something and you don't say it, he says, if they die in their sin, that blood will fall on your hand. But if you tell them and they choose not to change their ways, then that falls on them. Okay? So no longer will I be afraid to tell people the truth, because I'm afraid of what they might think of me or how they might treat me, because God showed me he gonna protect me, especially if I'm doing the right thing and giving somebody the truth that's gonna help them on their way. So no longer will I be afraid to tell people the truth, because I am here to try to help as many people as I can while I have the time. Okay? And whether you choose to take and listen to the messages that I give y'all and do the research, okay? Because God told us to all be seekers. To be a seeker means you got to put in some work. Seek and you shall find. He says that means you got to put in the work and you'll find the truth. It's not just going to come to you. Right? He didn't say just read the Bible and all the answers is right there. No, he didn't say that. He said seek. That means you got to go out here. You got to investigate. You got to read a lot of books. You got to do some studying. Right? You got to compare some things. because it's not going to be handed to you. Seek it and you will find it. It's not going to come to you. Okay? It's the same with prayers and blessings, right? We can pray for things, but if we don't put in the work, then we're just praying empty prayers, right? Because what God says, He says, if we don't, if we just pray and we don't go out here and put in the work, then it's dead. Everything we praying for is dead. Praying means you believe what you're praying for. So if you believe you was gonna be a CEO for a big company, then you gotta start moving like a CEO for a big company. What is the steps it takes to become a CEO of a big company? If you believe you're gonna be a writer, then you gotta start writing every day to become a big writer. If you think you're gonna become a great singer, then you gotta sing every day to become a great singer, a great artist. Praying means you believe what you're praying for, right? By moving in the direction of that prayer. If you just praying and sitting still and think it's gonna show up at your door, it ain't gonna work. And then you go sit there and be mad at God because you ain't putting in the work. He like, okay, I hear the prayer and I help you get there, but you gotta get up. I'm not gonna carry you there. You gotta get up and walk. Okay? So if anybody, I keep telling any and everybody this, if anybody is teaching you to follow Jesus, they are not teaching you the truth. Okay? Read the book of Enoch. Read the book of Ezra. Read the book of Adam and Eve. They all have the same thing in common. God says He's gonna save us. Okay? Nowhere in the Bible will you find that Jesus said He is God. But He does say He is the Son of Man. Okay? Even though people kept trying to call Him the Son of God, He would correct them and say He's the Son of Man. Why is this so important? Because in the prophecy in the book of Enoch, it says the Son of Man is supposed to come and be the judge of the evil people. It never says He's supposed to die for us and be our Savior. It says He comes before God, judge the evil people, okay? And then God comes and save His people. And that would be the end of the world that we know it. The world didn't end when Jesus died, which is one indication that He is not God. He didn't fulfill the prophecy. But there is a message, a verse of a false prophet that worked for the devil in Revelations. I believe it's 19 or 20. It says all that follow the false prophet, worship his image, will go and suffer with the dragon and the false prophet. They're teaching you to follow the false prophet and telling you that he is God, but it is not the truth. If you don't seek and get on the right path with God, you will be destroyed, because God said He is only coming back to save His righteous. And who are the righteous? The ones He say follow His laws and commands. So it don't matter how much you say you love God, if you're not following the laws and commands, you will not be saved. It's as simple as that. He is only coming back to save the righteous. The righteous follow his laws and commands. So you can get on the right path with God and start loving him correctly, the way he says to love him. Because just because he's God doesn't mean he don't have standards. In fact, God tells his people to have higher standards than everybody else. All through his word, he tells them to hold themselves higher than everybody else. He tells you not to be doing these things that these Gentiles and everybody is supposed to be doing out here, right? Don't be celebrating these pagan holidays that these Gentiles are celebrating. Don't be worshiping these gods that these Gentiles is worshiping. So God has a standard, and if we're not living to his standard, we will not be saved. And it's real simple, real easy. That's the pattern of the Bible. But it's all about, is you go put in the work. It's we lazy. We lazy. We want so much, but don't want to put in the work. We lazy. And as long as you're being lazy, you're not going to get the reward. Alright? So I hope this message helped. I love y'all, and y'all have a great day.